Alrighty, guys, we're going to talk about energy balance today. So, calories, energy, metabolism, um, what you should do, what's like the importance of different types of nutrition, um, factors that will impact metabolism, rates of gain, how fast you should be doing things, how to track your calories as well, and obviously how to find your like baseline level of calories to go off. So, first of all, we can understand like a nutritional hierarchy of importance. So these things should come in order. If you're ever looking at, like, if you could put this on a pyramid, like at the top is the most important thing, at the bottom is the least important thing. The base of that block, the least important thing is going to be supplements. Or we'll go for the other way around. The first thing is going to be adherence. So, first of all, is it a plan that you can do and keep to? If you can't do it, then everything else falls apart. Second thing is calories in versus calories out. That's the most important thing there. Then it becomes about like the protein, fat, and carb combinations. Then it becomes about food sources. So like even above food sources, this is why you can eat McDonald's and lose weight. Don't recommend it because obviously the other things that come with that, the downstream effects. But realistically speaking, if you wanted to, like you could just adhere and have calories, and you could get 95% of the results or more. Then protein, carbs, and fats, of course. Then food sources, micronutrients, and then meal timing, and then supplementation. It's like sprinkling on the top, right? The final ingredient. So always prioritize in that order where you can. So a few factors that will affect metabolism. So many different types of things can affect metabolism. So it's important to understand them. Genetics. I have people who lose weight on 2,000 calories. I have people who lose weight on 4,000 calories. I have people who can't gain weight on more than like who gain weight at 2,700 calories. I have people that gain weight at 6,000 calories. So it's very, very genetic based, along with all the other things on the list. Sometimes if you're not training hard enough, like training hard is a skill. And obviously we work with a lot of you guys who haven't been training for more than a year, maybe sometimes. Of course, a lot of you watching will be more than sufficient. So a lot of that is like teaching you how to train harder, recruit the muscle better, stimulate the force. So that's like recruiting a lot of calories to burn, which basically improves metabolism. So jobs, this is why I always ask you guys, people always look at me funny sometimes in the calls, like, what do you do for work? If you don't mind me asking, they're like, why are you fucking nosy? I'm like, is it a desk job or you're a bricklayer? It could be 20,000 steps. It could be two. It could be lifting weights all day. It could be writing on a screen all day. Really, really important things. If you find yourself, oh, actually, shit, I've got a desk job. I don't walk much. I don't train super hard. Those could be putting your metabolism in the bin. PEDs, naturally, guys, like you guys have seen the amount of foods that PED guys can use. So use PEDs, metabolism increases. The magnitude of the surplus or the deficit. So like how big of a surplus you're in and how big of a deficit that you're in. So if you're in a huge, huge deficit, it's going to drag your metabolism down. If you're in a huge, huge surplus and you gain a ton of body fat, it's going to drag metabolism down and you're just not going to like keep up with it. So this is why we always look for like rate of gain, which obviously we'll talk about in the next slide, but like we look at like a percent that we stick to because it just keeps things in a nice flow, minimizes the fat, maximizes the muscle retention, for example, going both ways. And then you got to look at your body fat percentage. Like, are you super low on body fat? Well, maybe, end of a competition prep, a lot of people finish their competition preps on low calories. Or are you super, super, like, you got a lot of body fat that can also impact metabolism, or things like injuries, metabolic issues, hormone issues. All of those can have downstream effects. So let's talk about kind of rates of gain here. So if you're looking at muscle gain, we look at going about 5 to 20% above maintenance, which works out about, hopefully, the rate of gain is about 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per month. So I'll use 100 kilos as an example, right? 100 kilos, you want to gain anywhere from half a kilo to a kilo a month, right? A month. Which is what's important. And any of you guys who are 70 kilos or 60 kilos or 50 kilos, some of you girls out there, it's not a lot of body weight to gain. So we've got to be conservative. And that's why we keep within that 5 to 20%. I say 5 to 20% because if you're really, 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 really lean, 20% is like pretty fine. And you'd curve off over off seasons. And you guys might have noticed that if you've stuck with me for a long time, we've done the full off season, we curve off to a maintenance and then we dip back down. This is a little bit in contrast to fat loss. So we can increase both the rate of loss here because the energy to keep muscle is a lot less than it is to build muscle. So we can really like push a little bit harder. So 20 to 30% below maintenance is fine. 0.5, 1.5% body weight per week, not per month. So someone who's 100 kilos could lose somewhere between 0.8 and a kilo a week versus gaining that a month. So you can see it's like a 4-to-1 that you'd want to worry about. Beginners and advanced, like it could be different for you guys. This is why coaching is so good, because we've been through it. We can guide you through it. But obviously for you guys, education here, you may need slightly more aggressive approach initially. You've got less experience in the process, so time to complete time to do all of it maybe a little bit longer. In terms of aggressive, I just mean more like you're going to grow quickly, so train hard, eat a lot of food, especially if you're naturally leaner as well. And then obviously, as the more advanced you get, you'd probably get way less aggressive. It gets way less up and down and way more just like folds like this, because you don't need to push so much up and so far down, for example. And all of it is just kind of like your life, really, isn't it? So it's pretty easy. So let's talk about finding your maintenance, right? So TDEE, you might see this places. It's basically totally daily energy expenditure, right? Hashtag expenditure gain. Who remembers? I don't know if I've got any clients who follow me back then, actually. I used to do this Q&A every day with when I used to do my walk. I used to call it expenditure because you're expending energy. Expenditure gang. I made hoodies for it as your fact for the day. So it's basically a totally daily energy expenditure. Every movement, every step, digestion, breath you take, you burn calories. It's impossible to track all of it. Calorie calculators can take into account as much as they can. The most efficient way for me that I've ever done, rather than like spit out some calculator, is basically I work out your protein, work out kind of how much activity you've got. I do some basic calculations here, and then we see how things go, right? So finding true maintenance. Once you've got those calories, macros, 2 weeks consistent tracking your macros, 2 weeks consistent tracking your body weight, track your steps every day, make sure that the training is the same and everything else is the same. Then just see what happens with the body weight, right? If you go down, you're in a deficit. If you go up, you're in a surplus. If you stay the same, that's your maintenance, right? And more often than not, most people fall between that 10 and 20 calories per pound of body weight. The more active you are, the closer to 20. So if you're sedentary, completely sedentary, aim for 10. If you're 5 to 8,000 steps, maybe you're at 12. If you're a farmer and you move all day, maybe you're at 20 plus, right? So just try and fall between that. And you can just adjust it as you go, obviously. And that's kind of what we do here. So what's the benefits of knowing your maintenance calories? Obviously, like you get a realistic idea of how much food that is, right? And this is what I say to a lot of you guys on the calls, like we're trying to give you skills for life here. So like once you've weighed out, I hate to say chicken, broccoli, and rice, but that's what people eat these days. So chicken, broccoli, and rice 100 times. You could do that without weighing it and be within 5 or 10 grams of weighing it. So like it gives you an idea of what's good for life. You understand how easy it can be to undereat, especially your protein. You'd also understand how easy it can be to overeat. You start to understand deficits, surpluses. You start to understand portion control for life, right? You start to understand how easy it is to have a normal balanced life and have a few snacks here and there. And you'll start to understand that when you have those few snacks, that's a surplus. When you come back down, that's a deficit. So if you add those two together, where is it a net positive or a net negative? Are you net gaining or net losing? And is that in line with your goals? So in summary, understanding your metabolism is super important. Like just understanding what it does. It goes up, it goes down. Make sure you have time to learn it. Metabolism's adaptive, so enough time eating a lot of food, it'll come up. Enough time pulling it down, it'll come down. Your daily activity does matter. If you go from 20,000 steps to 2, that is a big difference. So just like being conscious of those, like if you do have huge sways in the day. Everyone's different. The amount of movement that you do matters. Calorie and portion control matters. Always, except if you're climbing Everest, you can do what you want, of course. And around 10-20 calories per pound of body weight. So we'll leave that there, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll be back soon. Any questions, as always, just comment in the forum.